friends, this is another episode of the program Empire of Lies, in which we talk about manipulation and disinformation of the Russian media, division map as a weapon, how Russian TV sells Europe a new Mirage. There is another sensation on Russian air. The hackers Killnet allegedly hacked the servers of the French Ministry of Defense and obtained a map of the Ukraine occupation plan. The French, they say, will get the mineral resources of Zhitomir and Kharkiv regions, the British, logistics hubs, the Poles and Romanians, Odessa and borderlands. A total of 50,000 NATO soldiers under the guise of peacekeepers must divide Ukraine. Sounds like a thriller, but in fact it is a carefully constructed television play. Division scenario. Such leaks are not news, but a proven tool of Russian propaganda. It works in several steps. 1. A reference to hackers creates the illusion of technical authenticity, although no independent confirmation exists. 2. Direct dramaturgy. Everything is laid out on the shelves: resources, borders, areas of responsibility. This is not how EU or NATO documents are written, but this is how TV stories are built. 3. Timing. The leak is timed to coincide with the Ramstein meeting and the European negotiations in Washington. The meaning is clear: to sow mistrust within the coalition. Why does the Kremlin need this Russian TV offers the viewer a familiar frame. Ukraine is already being divided. Everything has been decided. Europe is hypocritical and powerless. In this logic, Moscow does not look like an aggressor, but one of the legitimate players in the future division. For the domestic audience, this is a way to explain the war as a fight against greedy neighbours. And for the external audience, an attempt to drive a wedge between Europe and the United States. After all, if the Allies are really tearing Ukraine to pieces, then why continue to support Kyiv? Where does the logic break down? But the occupation consortium cracks at the first analysis. Law and procedures. The EU and NATO are not capable of registering areas on foreign territory without an international mandate. Even in Iraq, access to resources was formalized through tenders and lengthy negotiations. Economy. No Western company would risk entering a combat zone without insurance, audit, and legal protection. A concession under bombs is not a business but a TV fairy tale. Military arithmetic. 50,000 soldiers on the map is a convenient figure for the screen, but completely unrealistic for holding such territories under fire. Sensation from hackers from Killnet. After hacking the servers of the French Ministry of Defense, they got access to the secret plan of the Europeans for the occupation of Ukraine. Look, here is a map with the title Joint Forces, Coalition of the Willing, dated April 16th. According to the plan, French peacekeepers in reality, well, these are occupation forces, must occupy mineral deposits in the Zhitomir, Kharkiv and Sumy regions. The same ones that, in fact, the Americans already consider their own. In accordance with this project, the British take control of the logistics, KABS. The Romanians and Poles get the bordering territories of Ukraine, including the port of Odessa. In total, they plan to involve about 50,000 NATO soldiers in the operation. Everything has been agreed with Kiev. What is important for the European reader to hear one? This is not an investigation, but a performance. Its goal is to demoralize and disunite. 2. The division of Ukraine is not an analysis, but a normalization of violence. When you are shown a map of already changed borders, you are taught to perceive force as the natural foundation of a new Europe. 3rd, emotion is their weapon, transparency is ours. Where the EU explains the goals of sanctions and defense aid calmly and in detail, myths lose their power. Russian television does not simply report news, it constructs a new reality where Europe has supposedly resigned itself to its secondary role and Ukraine has already been dismembered. This reality exists only on the screen, but the more often it is shown, the more familiar it becomes. You have been on the program Empire of Lies. See you soon.